So hey, how's it going, everyone? The Sham here, and today I'm going to be doing yet again another Spider-Man type video, and obviously like this one is going to be pertaining to the trailer 2 that we got for the No Way Home, and obviously I haven't seen like the first breakdown that they did for the trailer, like the first one, but like they were giving out like so many hints and Easter eggs and all this other stuff for the first trailer. So I was like, you know what? If they ever make a second one, I'm gonna check it out. And obviously, like a second trailer came out, and now that they have a breakdown, let's see what Easter eggs and what hints are gonna be hinted for this new upcoming movie, which is in a week, and I am definitely going to be watching it on the said week. But yeah, but let's see what crazy stuff this person is gonna find. But before I do that, let me hit that intro. Obviously, like I'm gonna put some subtitles there, so basically like I could read if he goes like too fast, because like there's some points that he will go fast, and yeah, but like basically this is the person that does all the Easter eggs like around like a bunch of movies. I don't think it's just Marvel, but it's like a bunch of other movies that he does with genres, and obviously like he does excellent Easter eggs and hints that he finds frame by frame through each trailer. So let's see what he says about this trailer.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Boss, and this is a breakdown of the new trailer for Spider-Man No Way Home, which
So
confronts
awesome.
Tom Holland, Peter Parker, with Doc Ock, Alfred Molina from Spider-Man 2, 2004, Green Goblin,
Yeah.
Norman Osborn, Willem Dafoe from the
Yeah.
Raimi trilogy, Electro,
I was so
Jamie
excited.
Foxx from the
The new
2014 Amazing
change.
Spider-Man 2, Sandman, Thomas Hayden Church from the Raimi movies, and the
Yeah.
Lizard, Rhys Ifans from the 2012 Amazing Spider-Man, not to mention Doctor Strange. But this trailer seems to be playing some VFX
They're also
trickery
saying-
because
they're also
I
saying that
highly
Daredevil's
doubt
gonna be
Peter's
in it.
facing all these threats by himself.
Yeah.
That's right, his backup, Sonic and Shrek. I'm gonna go through this frame by frame to find all the Easter eggs and details that this trailer's hiding. This video was sponsored by our friends at Heroes Journal. More on them later.
Okay.
Let's get started.
Yeah, that basically like they
Ever since I got
were
bit by the
saying,
spider,
oh, Daredevil's gonna be in
I
it.
only had 1 week.
That's what they were saying.
Where my
And
life
basically
was
like
falling
we're gonna see the trailer
That was
again,
when you found
but he's gonna
We
go.
open on sad Peter Parker, his face bruised and bleeding, tears and rain. Seems like the end of the movie, so who is Peter mourning? Who's gonna die? Well, the trailer suggests MJ, but it could just
Oh
as easily
my.
be like Ned, Aunt May, Happy Hogan, or Shrek. This could also be an ending where Peter, in order to save those he
Or it
loves and
could be
those he
the
doesn't
Uncle
want to
Ben, 'cause
harm,
apparently they're
must
saying Uncle Ben.
exile himself to a reality in the multiverse where he is a stranger with no way home, where it rains a lot, called Seattle. Peter tells MJ that the week between her
Okay.
finding out that he was Spider-Man and Far From Home, and Mysterio and J. Jonah Jameson outing him in the post-credit scene of that movie, was his one normal week ever since the spider bit him. Now, this is only the second time Peter has mentioned his spider bite, an origin we never actually saw in the MCU, just kind of
Except
glossed
for
over
the
in
Raimi
Homecoming.
series.
You got bit by a spider? Can it bite me? Well, it probably would have hurt, right? You know what? Whatever. Even if it did hurt, I'll let it bite me. Maybe. How much did
Maybe.
The spider's dead, Ned.
So No Way Home could finally be the film
It
the
just bit him
MCU
and-
flashes back to the exact circumstances of Peter's spider bite, especially if
Oh.
this movie does introduce him to the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield versions of the character, whose bites and web-slinging abilities took alternate forms. Peter and MJ swing past J.
Yeah.
Jonah Jameson's Daily Bugle broadcast until it switches to his own face half-mast with Public Enemy #1. #1? Does no one care that Nexus witches exist? Just go talk to those survivors in Westview, or to Mr.
Yeah.
Dell.
You know, being a man of science,
Mr. Witches.
witches.
And in the shot, you can see how
I
MJ's
love that.
hair is blocking Peter's view, and that nearly causes him to smack right into that screen. And only when it clears does he finally whip to the side. Then Peter and MJ
Yeah.
perch on the Queensboro Bridge. You can see over to the side there, this is right next to the Roosevelt Island Tramway, the setting of Green Goblin's showdown with Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker,
Oh
in
no
the first
way!
Raimi Spider-Man
Telling you,
film.
these are clues
Let's move
I
on.
did not even know. And we got an ad. Back.
When you botched that spell where you wanted everyone to forget the Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yeah, there's that.
We started getting
multiverse.
some visitors.
William Dafoe.
As Peter and MJ jump from that bridge, you can see MJ is wearing the same Joan of Arc t-shirt that she wore at the end of Far From Home, which, in addition to being a reflection of MJ's feminine pride, was itself an Easter egg calling back Zendaya's Joan of Arc look at the 2018 Met Gala. Then they glide through the subway tunnels, somehow missing Morbius despite his best efforts to sneak into this universe. And obviously they do this to
that's gonna
escape
be
the
sick.
helicopters
The
tracking
Morbius.
them, but also following Cap's advice for how best to escape the city.
You take them to the basement or through the subway. You keep them off the streets.
Someone's been watching his Cap PSAs, and then as they nearly run into a train
The
for a
Cap-
brief second,
Captain America
the train
PSA, which
screen
was awful.
flashes red, and the M train. That's right, Spider-Man narrowly avoided the Mephisto train. Run all you want, Spider-Man. We all float down here.
Oh my god.
R.I.P. your earbuds. The M line actually runs through Queens, so this train is likely coming from Queens, and Peter's just trying to get home. But there's no way home thanks to Mephisto. Now, you'll notice Benedict
Mephisto.
Cumberbatch's audio sounds stitched together here.
When you botched that spell where you wanted everyone to forget that Peter Parker's Spider-Man.
As many of his off-screen lines actually sound in this trailer.
There are others out there. We need to send them back.
That suit is gonna look awesome. It's like it's magic.
This is the
with
first time
the
for
web.
me in the Marvel universe.
I am guessing that Cumberbatch is just so fluid with his line reads, with more revelatory terms bleeding into the trailer dialogue, making it harder to cut around. Now, the from behind shot of Peter shows him wearing a dark blue jacket, clearly a different scene than the shot of Peter with the plaid shirt when the spell occurs. Him in the jacket actually matches with the shot of the first trailer where the lizard was swiping at Peter, so Doctor Strange may have actually caught the lizard on his own while Peter was dealing with Doc Ock and Goblin on the bridge.
got him and
We see
he's,
more
like,
of the
talking.
exact moment that Peter tampers with the spell, causing the golden bands to tremble and then explode outward. And again, there are 4 of these bands, maybe for each of the 4 universes that get crossed over in this movie: the MCU, the Raimiverse, the Webverse, and the Venomverse. And as they illuminate the room, you can see that the blue murk that previously surrounded them dissipates. Presumably, that was going to be the cold and drowsy humor that Doctor Strange was trying to conjure to just simply erase people's memories. But now the golden reality warp bands tear the room to pieces around them. Now that we've seen Venom Let There Be Carnage, that movie's post-credit scene seems to be showing a similar process. A bright golden light fills the room, and then reality warps the room's decor. That could explain why
that's
we
like
have all
what
these
they were
random
saying.
odds and ends in this dungeon later on. It's just a bunch of crap that got redecorated after the reality warped. I've compared this imagery to Wanda Maximoff's reality warping in WandaVision, and I still believe Strange might be under Wanda's spell, which is clearly what WandaVision was setting up, and could explain why Strange so willingly helps Peter warp reality. Because remember, Wanda is looking for a reality where her children could still be alive. Moving on.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they are canon, but
Universe.
I don't know when they're gonna get canon. Hello, Peter. The meme.
Hello, Peter.
I love it. Green Goblin is here. He looms in through the smoke of his own pumpkin grenades, riding his glider. Meanwhile, Strange explains that these visitors are coming from every universe, meaning Doctor Strange might have been previously aware of alternate universes like the Raimiverse,
Yeah, 'cause
which
he
would
was,
give
like,
interesting meaning to the
checking
line
everywhere.
he said to Tony Stark back in Infinity War.
Protecting your reality, douchebag.
Then Electro's bolts blast through the ground toward Peter, who wears this new black and gold suit. This suit's kind of a mess. There's loose wires poking out, duct tape all over the place. Actually, later you can see MJ and Ned are on a smartphone duct taped to his chest, apparently FaceTiming
What?
all this. I am guessing this mission might be to catch Electro, and they have to do it in a way without Peter's Iron Spider armor, maybe by turning his old suit inside out so all the wiring is now exposed, or maybe his nanotech suit can't be relied on after he ran into Doc Ock, or this could just be a new suit that they rigged up to be more resistant to high voltage. Let's move on to the next clip.
Yeah, that could be true. But like apparently, like he has like magic. Ah, damn it, Matt.
You're not Peter Parker.
But like,
Yes, license
it has like
plates.
magic.
So I pointed
with
out
it.
in past videos how the cars on this bridge seems to have specific license plates that could be pointing to specific comic book issues. Something Spider-Man director John Watts actually does in all of his movies. Here, Doc Ock and Peter pass a plate reading JND79WN, which doesn't seem to directly translate to anything in particular, unless maybe you try to stretch J&D being for Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, who did first
Jessica
appear
Drew.
in Marvel Comics in 1976. But later,
This is
here
something
is a
that
clear
I would wouldn't even
overt one,
expect.
ASM 8183. John Watts always uses ASM to refer to Amazing Spider-Man, and then a specific comic book issue followed by the year. But this can be interpreted a couple different ways, actually. There was a Spectacular Spider-Man, not Amazing Spider-Man, issue 81 in 83, which mixes up Spider-Man with Cloak and Dagger, Punisher, and a certain bald baddie who's gonna come stomping into the MCU soon. Kingpin. Yes, I have theorized that Kingpin Wilson Fisk could be revealed in Hawkeye and could be the sixth villain of the Sinister Six in this movie. But alternatively, there's also an Amazing Spider-Man number 183
if you haven't seen Hawkeye, you gotta see it right now.
August 8th month in the year 1973, in which Peter gets attacked by a big wheel while Aunt May is hospitalized. This could just be a joke about how the wheel of this car is flying at Peter right now. But then beneath the bridge, Doc Ock jams his claw at Peter, and I love how John Watts uses a whip pan, the same kind of camera movement that Sam Raimi would often use for Doc Ock in the 2004 film. But notice how Doc Ock's arms now have a red and gold coating to them, and a chunk of Peter's nanotech is missing from his chest. He actually has to reallocate the nanobots from his helmet to his chest to protect himself from the blow, and a later trailer shot shows that Doc Ock straight up absorbs Peter's nanotech armor from his suit. And this is crazy, because Doc Ock comes from an alternate universe where Stark tech does not exist. How could he be compatible with this tech? Well, if you think about it, his arms are actually controlled via a neural link that was fused to his spinal cord. And Stark nanotech seems to be controlled via a kind of neural link as well. So maybe that is how Doc Ock can hack into it. I'm just excited to see nanotech on the loose in the MCU. Could be a major plot point in shows like Armor Wars. Also, a little VFX detail that I appreciate. Peter's necktie dangles from the open nanotech hole where his chest is, but as that nanotech shifts and seals that hole, it tucks the necktie back in. Meanwhile, when Tom Holland's face is revealed, Doc Ock says,
"You're not Peter Parker."
Answering our questions from the first trailer as to why Doc Ock would see this version of Spider-Man and recognize him as Peter from his universe. It's just because Doc Ock saw someone, I guess, who looked like Spider-Man and assumed that would be Tobey's face underneath. But what I like about this line is it does confirm the existence of a Tobey Maguire Peter Parker somewhere in this merged Spider-Verse and makes his cameo even more likely. Let's move on.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
Dr. Otto Octavius.
Wait, no, seriously, what's your actual name?
Sounds like the kids are okay boomering Doc Ock about his name. I like how Ned is holding a crossbow. Might have been something he picked up from Strange and Wong's artifacts that they use for things like vampire hunting, because we know a lot of these are coming in the MCU. Meanwhile, MJ's necklace, I love this detail. It's actually a broken piece of the Black Dahlia necklace that Peter bought for her in Venice and later ended up broken when he gave it to her in that movie. She's so loyal, what a keeper. But I mean, it's MJ, she likes it better that it's broken. And then here we see how Doc Ock actually retains the red and gold nanobots from Peter's suit on his arms. He might have actually absorbed all of the nanobots for all we know. And then as Doc Ock turns his head, these claws, like snake heads, turn their heads too. We're not really sure how much these arms are listening to him or he's listening to them. I like to think they listen to me now. Next clip.
The reference.
Out there, we need to send them back. So,
Scooby-Doo this crap.
But why is Electra just standing there?
I know
if it is Electra
myself, starting with the word please.
Please, Scooby-Doo this crap.
Okay, amazing set piece here. The freaking Statue of Liberty, keeping the tradition of landmark set pieces like the Washington Monument, the Venice Grand Canal, Tower Bridge in London, but now with huge cranes over it attaching a massive Captain America shield. You can see a banner hanging from the scaffolding reading Lady Liberty, the newest Avenger, and you can actually see those words on a bus stop ad for it later on. Now, we just saw Liberty Island used as an example of how the world has gone to crap during the blip with all the loose boats moored up to it, but now it seems as though the government is using Lady Liberty as a way of celebrating the Avengers' victory. For when Cap stood his ground facing the abyss and found backup from opening portals behind him, as we pray Peter Parker will receive some backup from other Peters in this scene. If you remember, this was kind of foreshadowed in Far From Home when Mysterio's illusion trapped Peter in a snow globe where the Statue of Liberty rose up beside him. And earlier, Peter stood among giant statues of his fallen Avenger heroes with him standing on a giant Captain America shield. Now, of course, course, using the Statue of Liberty as a final battle set piece has been something that pretty much all superhero movies have avoided because it was done back in one of the first big Marvel movies, X-Men in 2000, which is the Marvel movie where Kevin Feige got his start as an associate producer. We're coming full circle with that, and I think there's a deliberate reason for that. I'll get to it at the end of the video. Getting the answers to these questions is quite
the final
a quest
battle
for
between
me.
all
Yes,
of them.
I feel like I'm on my own Campbellian hero's journey, and in my own life, I like to document my progress by staging it this way, and an awesome new thing to help me do that is Hero's Journal. Tro is charging up using electrical towers. Meanwhile, Peter uses a piece of wrist tech that eliminates rings of eldritch magic from Doctor Strange. So
Yeah, like,
must be this suit, or maybe even
has
just
magic.
this piece on his wrist, was probably given to Peter in order to snare villains like Electro, kind of like a Ghostbuster using a proton pack and a trap. Then Doctor Strange tells them to Scooby-Doo this crap. Just another example of the MCU folding in all of pop culture into their universe. Kind of like how Eternals just cited other Warner properties like Superman and Batman. And then a preview clip of Hawkeye mentioned Katniss Everdeen from Hunger Games. But Strange telling them to Scooby-Doo this problem does cast this group as a kind of mystery Inc. Like MJ would be Velma, Peter probably Shaggy, Ned Scooby, and Happy
Ned
Aunt May,
Scooby.
Fred and Daphne. They're useless and always trying to
Mind your own business, pal.
But
I mean, they're
like
not
in
wrong.
Scooby-Doo, the kids of this movie might end up unmasking the real villain behind it all, which, according to Scooby-Doo lore, is more often than not the old man Jenkins, who hired them in the first place. So just add this to the list of reasons to be super suspicious of Doctor Strange in this movie. He may be the witch who would have gotten away with it if it weren't for that meddling Nedlin. Moving on.
I mean,
You're flying
nah.
out into the darkness. to
I feel like
fight
it's
ghosts.
something else
do you mean?
bigger than that.
They all
They're just
die.
hiding it from us.
Spider-Man. It's their fate.
So we see a combination of Electro and Sandman
It's just gonna
attacking
indicate
cops
that-
and news vans, but now standing aside the Daily
that
Bugle
Peter's
van is
gonna
our
get
man
the
J.K.
messed up
Simmons
face.
as J. Jonah Jameson. Giddy smile on his face as he realizes he's getting a great scoop. And as Electro blasts away, you can see his humanoid shape flashing like lightning from spot to spot. Now, of course, his lightning color is now yellow, not blue like in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, but since Doc Ock can absorb nanotech, I think a lot of these villains might adapt new features as they transition into the MCU. I love Doc Ock chilling us with this line.
You're flying out into the darkness to fight ghosts.
For one, it doubles down on this Ghostbusters parallel of Peter's mission, but also Alfred Molina is looking directly into the camera here as if this is how he shuts up those kids for laughing about his name, reminding them that they will be facing
He's like,
madmen who
"I
should
am
be dead,
strong."
who now think that they're in some kind of purgatory or hell, and therefore they have nothing to lose. Doctor Strange says that all these people died fighting their version of Spider-Man, but that definitely wasn't the case for Sandman at the end of Spider-Man 3.
Sandman
Peter Parker
just-
forgave him and let him go, making us wonder, geez, Toby, what did you do after Spider-Man 3? Did Flynn Marco break your damn door?
Fix this.
Damn door.
Peter leaps after a pumpkin grenade as it explodes in front of him. This actually looks like the lobby of that same building, the one with the police cars outside, the same one we later see Electro and Sandman outside of, in the lobby that Aunt May seems to be charging through. I also think, based off of the SWAT swarming around it, that is where Happy Hogan is. So between Happy and May, that's two very worrisome options for who this pumpkin grenade may be targeting. But
Now
Peter does seem to be wearing a new incarnation of his Iron Spider nanotech that probably protects him from this explosion. You can see that gold emblem stretching across his shoulders.
Oh, yeah,
It's
the
completely
new
new.
golden-
The guy's got a
the new
million
golden one.
suits in this franchise. And in that shot, he appears to be talking to Aunt May after the explosion. So I'm thinking she'll be okay. Happy though? I don't know. But an explosion
that
does
Happy.
destroy the entrance, emitting a green fire, which
Jeez.
actually continues to burn green on
It
that
could
piece
be
in the lower
Happy.
right. So I'm wondering if this could be part of Goblin's weaponry. And then on the right is a Feast truck. Feast is Peter Parker's homeless outreach organization, and it has a big hole torn out of the side of the truck.
And
like someone
Feast
might have used this
is
truck as
rec-
perhaps a Trojan
shown
horse
in
burst out of
the game
attack.
of Spider-Man.
Moving on.
I'm sorry.
That's one little reference I got from it.
Yeah, me too.
Don't.
The box.
There isn't. They're a danger to our universe.
So deciding that he does not want to send these villains to their certain deaths, either realizing that if he's worthy of redemption, so must they be, or after Mysterio, he doesn't want any villain blood on his hands, Peter whips and snatches that green cube artifact as it levitates between Strange's hands. I'm assuming this is some kind of Pokeball pocket prison that Doctor Strange is either storing the villains inside of, or some kind of mechanism that allows him to return them to sender. I love this. Peter is strung between two portals. Strange must have tricked Peter by opening one portal in the direction he was already whipping, and then another one immediately behind him, so that
And
Peter
they were
ended
saying
up
it was like
whipping
another
his own
Spider-Man.
foot.
And if you see-
Genius. But in this shot I mentioned before, Aunt May looks super emotional, and she's carrying some device. Looks metallic, cylindrical, and glowing green a bit. Could this be some form of Goblin's tech? Then Doc Ock tries to crush Peter's head, which then leads to the nanobot spreading across his mechanical arms. This actually might have been a defense mechanism by the nanobots to keep the claws
Frame
from
by
crushing the
frame.
helmet, but then those bots
And this is
fuse
what
with Otto's neural link,
we don't
allowing
see.
him to inherit them. On to the next clip.
He's like, these nanotech. Damn it! He's like, all this nanotech.
You're struggling
Powerful.
to have everything you want while the world
Bro,
tries
Willem
to make
Dafoe
you
being
choose.
so
Peter swings
terrifying.
through the scaffolding at the base of the Statue of Liberty, but you'll notice the statue is bronze colored, not the green color we know today. And that's because
They're
when the
building it.
statue was originally assembled in France in the
They're building it
1880s,
again.
its copper plating made it a dull brown color. And then over the next 30 years, it oxidized green, the color we now know it as. So maybe this statue is actually restored as part of its newest Avenger redo. Actually, in shots
Yeah.
of Peter perched on the crown, you can see streaks of green in those spikes as if this oxidation was being scrubbed off. Then we get our first clear look at Jamie Foxx as Electro. He wears
Yeah.
this chunky gear that seems to help conduct the electric
He
current,
has
and
the
all seems to be
electricity.
stemming from a chest component that almost looks like an arc reactor, like a spare one from Stark's tech.
He got
Should
it
be
from
another piece of Stark tech
Tony
that
Stark.
one of these Spidey villains could hijack and repurpose. He does seem to fire a powerful blast that seems like it's a mixture of repulsor blasts. And then I love this, as the
Repulsor blast.
electricity courses over his head, it makes the yellow starburst shape of Electro's classic spark
Yes.
mask from the comics. Then we get a nice close-up of Green Goblin on his glider, as well as a quick flash of a goblin without his helmet, wearing flight goggles. I'm just thinking this is a blurry Willem Dafoe face, because if
It is.
alternate goblins or Hobgoblin was in this movie, I don't think they would reveal James Franco or Dane DeHaan Goblin in a shot like
Oh,
this.
God,
You'll
no,
notice he
not
drops in
him.
with a
He was
swarm
like
of
an awful
razor
goblin.
bats. You remember those nasty things from the first Raimi film. And then a DODC SWAT unit
Like,
swarms in on the building, Department of Damage Control. These are the authorities who
No, but
arrested
Willem
and
Dafoe
interrogated
already-
Peter, and
already
they seem to here
confirmed
be in the apparent
that that's the
aftermath
second
of that
suit,
green
but just, like,
explosion.
more
Then a juiced up version of
different.
Doctor Strange's spell blasts out from Liberty Island, expanding far into the sky. Maybe that cube broke open, causing the barriers between realities to open even wider. More thoughts on this in a bit, but on to the next clip.
I mean, that is a theory, because basically the box looked like it had like the rings also, so could indicate that.
Okay, so Electro, Sandman's giant face, and Lizard leap across the Statue of Liberty scaffolding towards
And then
Spider-Man,
the
but
slope.
clearly Lizard is jumping towards something else that must be positioned beneath Spider-Man that's been scrubbed from the frame. Actually, in the
They're
Brazilian
like, "Let's
version
clean
of this
it, let's clean
trailer,
it."
the cut was left long enough to show Lizard recoiling as if something kicked him in the head, something that was removed from this trailer, and I think it's a very good chance that in the theatrical version of this scene, that
It's
is
gonna
going
be a
to be
Spider-Man.
Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. Maybe Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, but Garfield Peter has a history with Lizard. Actually, Electro is also an Andrew Peter villain. Sandman was the Tobey Peter villain. Tom's really the odd one
Yeah.
out here. But this shot just makes it seem like it's 3 versus 1, but compositionally, it makes
It
far
could
more
be
sense
the
for this
Tobey
to be
Maguire's
3
gonna be the
versus
one-
3. Kind of like how the
It's gonna be
profile
with
collision
Electro,
shot in Civil War was
and
equal
Andrew
numbers
Garfield's
on
gonna be
both
the one with-
sides. And when
with
Peter tells Aunt May that he can't save
Lizard.
everyone, I think the subtext of that is that he can't do it alone, and he's gonna get some Endgame style backup from his Peter variants. Now,
Yep.
I fully respect Sony for not putting Toby and Andrew in the trailer, but fans have been so
The
harassed
hype.
with speculation. I think it's a foregone conclusion at this point.
It's the
Still,
hype
I
that
think we're gonna
people
scream
want
like
now.
Doc Brown when we see them. Let's move on.
Oh, and then we get the scene, yeah. And that's where everything was like, is
So
it
the
going to be
giant
the
Captain
same?
America shield crashes through the scaffolding, causing Ned and MJ to lose their balance, and MJ falls in slow motion with framing pretty similar to Gwen Stacy's fall in The
Oh,
Amazing Spider-Man
goodness.
2. Peter dives after her, reaching out his hand. Is he gonna catch her? While many are asking whose hand this actually is, it's definitely Tom Holland, Peter Parker's hand, based on the glove design in the new suit he is wearing in the sequence. But the parallels to Andrew Garfield, Peter Parker, and Gwen Stacy's
Oh,
death
God.
are
You're
pretty
gonna be like, it's
strong
gonna be
enough
Andrew
here that it
Garfield
would not
that's
surprise
gonna
me if Sony
try to
pulls
rescue
another
her.
VFX switcheroo and replaces Tom's hand with the life-saving grasp of Shrek. I'm kidding. Andrew Garfield, who would refuse to let another Peter Parker love interest die the same
Oh,
way his
my-
Gwen Stacy did. And you'll notice that the
Yeah,
two
and
hands
there's
here
a lot
are
of
framed
memes now.
perfectly with One World Trade Center in the background, just as this building does, looming over Gwen Stacy's funeral in the 2014
Oh, my
film. Let's
gosh.
move on to the final clip.
And we got another ad before it ends off.
Has
It's
left
opening
this
way
crack
more.
in the sky, like the cracks in space formed when the multiverse shattered in Loki, or the
Yeah.
shattering of reality walls in What If. Now, these cracks were once
I mean, the
orange,
What If,
like the golden bands of
it's
Doctor
like
Strange's
kinda not
spell, but
canon.
now a
I kinda
purple
rely more on
glow has
Loki.
overtaken the orange color as this glows in from what lays beyond. Purple has tended to be the color of dark magic in the MCU, the color of Dormammu in the Dark Dimension, the color of Agatha Harkness's dark magic. But the question is, what or who has started to come in through these cracks that Doctor Strange cannot keep out? Well, interdimensional threats like Dormammu or Shumagorath or demons from the What If episode 4
the hell,
always seem to be a
Shumagorath?
threat to Doctor Strange. Maybe we're looking at a symbiote hive or Kang variants. I don't think it has to be one big threat, but
if it's
like a
Kang
Sinister
variants,
Six spawning throughout
that
the
would be
MCU,
so
any
freaking
number of out-of-place
awful.
outsiders suddenly appearing from different universes. And I think it is interesting that they chose the Statue of Liberty as the focal point of all of this. The gateway to a new world for the tired, the poor, the huddled masses yearning to breathe free. A symbol chosen specifically for that X-Men final battle for that reason, as part of Magneto's plan to transform world elites into poor huddled mutants from a shining beacon in Lady Liberty's torch. No Way Home is clearly a prelude to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which I'm pretty sure is gonna be the MCU's version of the Scarlet Witch House of the M storyline, which is the nexus point of mutant existence in the multiverse. If we are seeing the moment that break in reality occurs, and if Doctor Strange has a link whatsoever to the Scarlet Witch, which we know from WandaVision that he does, then Kevin Feige might have chosen the Statue of Liberty.
It's gonna be that Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch are gonna work together in that movie.
When he got his start as a young associate producer on that X-Men 2000 film, personally shepherded Marvel superheroes to take a huge leap forward on the big screen, and he could be now bringing it full circle as a place mutant kind arrives on the shores of the MCU. Well, that is everything I caught in this magnificent No Way Home trailer, but we will be making plenty more videos about this in the days and weeks to come. So support this channel by checking out our merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at
I love that merch.
New Rockstars. Subscribe to New Rockstars or Breakdown.
I'm probably gonna get that merch also.
It's late in the night. I can't talk anymore.
Like try to get that merch and then take it to literally the like that first week opening of the actual film. Cause like but I forgot to say but basically crap, what was the thought that I was thinking of? That basically we obviously saw the trailer and how it went. That Electro was literally like he looked like he was pointing at someone, and that could be Tobey Maguire. Obviously the one that gets punches the lizard. That was gonna be Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland is gonna be the one that's gonna be jumping for Sandman. It could be like that because if you see from like the trailer at the end with obviously Tom Holland jumping at them, like you see Electro literally like looking at another direction also. Like he wasn't looking down at him, so that already indicates a bunch of stuff that it's gonna be the other two Spider-Mans with him. Because like basically they're not giving us the 3 Spider-Mans in total because the hype is gonna be given at the film when it gets released in about a week, and I can't wait because it's just a week. It's just a week away. We get to see the villains that were shown from way back then to the villains now. We could just say we could see Mysterio again. We could see Vulture again. We could see someone new. And basically, like, all the theories that are coming out that, Venom could be appearing, Daredevil could be appearing, this and all this other stuff could be appearing. And also, like, after, like, watching this person give the breakdown, I did not even think about it when it was, like, Happy, he was, like, looking all worried, and how he was saying, like, it's, like, in the same place where Sandman and Electro come in, and also Green Goblin for a second, and, like, there's, like, an explosion of a car. It could indicate that Happy could be the one that is gonna end up in the tragedy. And obviously with the beginning of the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer 2, where he's like all sad and everything. That could be him mourning Happy, or it could indicate something else. I don't know, but like that's what I was gonna say. That basically, Happy's gonna be the one that's gonna be the tragedy, and from the rain scene of obviously Tom Holland mourning is going to be for him, or it could be for something else. I don't know, but just 1 week, 1 week, and we'll get there. But that'll be it for this video. This was just interesting, and I can't wait for what other Marvel trailer's gonna come out or movie is gonna come out later on. Because then I'm gonna definitely check out the next breakdown that this person gives, because he goes to a point that I didn't even expect anything like that. Like the Dark Octopus with the nanotech, like it's like eating it and it's making it red. I thought it was like he goes somewhere and builds it and like makes a new design. Just like obviously Willem Dafoe, who already confirmed that there's gonna be a change in his costume and all this other stuff that they were talking about in the villain panel that I watched offline. And yeah, I can't wait to see what other Easter eggs or other hidden stuff are gonna be showcased when the film gets out. But leave a comment of how did you feel about this video, and also like who do you think is gonna be the sixth villain of the Sinister Six? Could it be Venom? Could it be Vulture? Could it be Scorpion? Because from what's it called, Homecoming, we see Vulture and what's it called, Scorpion talk to each other. So I don't know. Could it be him? Morbius, or I don't know, anyone else? Like, who do you think would be the sixth person of the candidate? Oh, and I also forgot the rent guy. But yeah. But like I said, that'll be it for this video. So stay tuned for more reactions, discussions, skits, all the other good stuff like this and other videos. Subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the gaming channel that I have, and check it out. Give this video a thumbs up, share, comment. You know what to do. And I'll see you all in the next one. Alright? Laters.